So cool. Look at all these people in green. A big shout out to all the members, and that's the names in green. Everyone else that's coming in right now. Got Joe, got Scotty, we're locked, we're loaded, we're ready to go. Lots of woo, and Scotty Lopez has got lots to tell us about his own paranormal activity. Oh, hell yeah. So then, boyos, are we ready for another weekend of madness, debauchery, strangeness, woo, weirdness?
Everything.
Absolutely. So a big shout out to everyone that's in the chat room over there. It's filling up very nicely indeed. And I tell you what, it's hard to even like shake a stick without hitting a member these days, guys. Look at all the green names.
Yes, I like the greens. I like the greens coming up. It's
awesome.
Good stuff.
It is, and we only need 2 new members. And of course, I've made the memberships far more accessible for everyone. There's a budget tier, there's a regular tier, there's the ultimate tier. Everything gets the members all the same perks. We have the members-only chat tomorrow. And the reason I gave it 3 different tiers was because I definitely appreciate that, not everyone has got money. And for £2 nowadays, what can you get for £2 nowadays, folks? Hardly anything. So that is enough to get you in the door and into the inner sanctum of the KBS family. And you yes, the inner sanctum, Joe, where it all goes down, man. It gets a bit.
You talking about the Discord, the lovely Discord?
No, anyone can come to Discord. No, anyone at all can come to Discord.
That's just anybody can do it.
Yeah, and you see, you can give different like levels of access in Discord. So eventually, if you're on the ultimate tier, and we'll wait till we've maybe got 10, 15 in the ultimate tier, we'll be able to do like audio calls via Discord. So yeah, there's lots to come. And if you can't become a member, that is perfectly cool. You can still come and hang out with all of us over in Discord. I'm still trying to get Joe and Scotty in there more. I'll get them there. I will.
Yes, I keep. It's my bad. I'll put the blame on myself. I honestly, I keep forgetting to go in there. I keep forgetting I have Discord installed. I'm not used to firing up the old Disco, so I just need to remember that yes, I have that there. That is a tool I need to utilize, and so yes, I need to. You need to kick me every once in a while and remind me that I do have that.
I'm exactly the same, dude. There'll be days where I forget, and then I log in to see what's happening, and I'm scrolling, Scott, because everyone else in there, they know that. They don't need me. It's just somewhere where everyone hangs out. There's it's not serious. It's quite light-hearted. There's different rooms for different things. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. The KBS Disco, indeedy. So we've got lots to get into tonight, folks, and as I put in the title, the paranormal activity is increasing around the team. And when I say team, really what I mean is Scotty Lopez. So we're going to get an update from Scott to begin with. Joe has brought a plethora of stories to the table. I've got a couple of weird ones.
Have. Yes. There's so much to go over. This is great.
It truly is great. But before we get anywhere, Joe, we have to get an update from the Scotty because, Scott, this paranormal stuff, we're on this kind of vibe. And it seems to me that every time I talk to you now, man, unfortunately, you've got more to tell us. So, Scott, tell us the latest that's going on in the Lopez portal.
So, I mean, yeah, lately it seems like I have become a Mr. Paranormal Investigator here around the house, and I'm trying to connect dots and make correlations, and things are just getting weirder, man. The woo dial has been cranked to 11. It's about to be broken off the just the knob's about to be broken off here pretty soon. Yeah, it's what it sounds like to me.
Has it been, let me ask you something, has it been ratcheting up in intensity?
I don't want to say ratcheting up in intensity. It's more of connecting the dots between different experiences that have happened and starting to paint a bigger picture that is like, oh,
Kind of like
you
that
know,
aha moment.
yeah. It's like we're kind of like I'm starting to kind of figure out maybe what's going on here. And hey,
We've got one.
Mikhail,
We might
What?
have the
Oh.
traffic cone emoji by the end of the show, folks. The traffic cone might be there. If it's going to be the traffic cone, of course. I've had several requests for the traffic cone because of the
I'm
stories.
sure you have.
Especially been Scottish, Joe. You know, we've got a penchant for the cone. So, yeah, before I get into it, Scott, on you go, man.
no, I think the traffic cone is only fitting to be the next emoji. Yes. But no, Joe, I would actually, though, I would say in general over the past, couple years, I would say in general, the activity has picked up. But as far as like recently, I wouldn't say it's more activity. It's just this kind of spotty activity that I'm just kind of connecting the dots to. So, for those of you out there who may have heard me talk about these paranormal experiences, I think we talked about it on the Safe Space. What, on Thursday, Kev?
Yeah. That's Scott's safe space a Thursday. That's where Scott hangs out. Yes, like that.
Yeah. Yes. So for those of you who weren't able to tune into that, I'll just kind of recap on kind of the most recent event. And my mom had experienced what could only be described as a full body apparition. She was sitting in the living room and she thought she saw my sister in the kitchen, like bending down to get something out of the refrigerator or something, by the island that we have in the kitchen, behind it, between the refrigerator and the island. So she was like, "Hey, what are you doing up? Hey Tori, what are you doing up? You're supposed to be in bed." But then when she looked again, nobody was there. And she was like, "Oh, whoa, what the hell?" Freaked her out, right? And she told me about it the next morning, and she checked the room. My sister was asleep. There was no explanation for what she saw other than it was a
Yet she
figure
knows she
that
saw it, right? She knows that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a figure around the same height as my sister, and she said it looked like a girl, around the, like I said, she thought it was my sister. So that's what happened. Now, she never told my sister about this experience. It was just kind of between me and my mom. Now the other day, my sister told my mom, "Hey, I had a really weird dream, like kind of like a bad dream or whatever." And my mom was like, "Oh, what was it? Well, what happened in your dream?" And my sister was like, "Well, throughout the dream, I felt really cold, like really cold and like I was going to die or something like that." And then she said that in the dream, she was standing in the kitchen by the refrigerator and that she was surrounded by like darkness, like a dark shadow. And in the dream, she's standing in the same spot where my mom saw the apparition.
Now that's some woo right there, buddy.
Big time.
And so my mom told me this, and I was like, "Whoa!"
And of course, Scott, it's important to note. I mean, your sister did not know any of what was going on. This was
She doesn't know. She doesn't really know about any of the, like we don't like just make it a point to pull her off to the side and tell her every single experience, right? She's mostly
right.
messing around, playing Roblox or something in the room, and just so
Right.
she don't know about a lot of this stuff. And plus, we're not trying to like scare her or anything. Tell her, "Oh, there's a bunch of ghosts."
No.
Yeah. So we. But I just found it very interesting how my mom had that experience. She had that dream. In the dream, she was standing in the exact same spot And I think she even told my mom that in the dream she was bending over by the counter, just like the apparition that my mom saw bending over.
It's
And she
almost
Almost
as
said,
if your
like her
mum.
dream had manifested
Yeah. It's almost like your
Yeah,
mum was
into
seeing.
this world.
That's weird.
very
No,
weird.
it is. It certainly is. Either that or
bizarre.
it's some sort of connection that your mom and your sister had, you know. But
Mm.
in either case, I mean, it's just
We have
that
got Brian incoming in a
supreme
minute.
blue.
And DJ,
Yeah.
thank you so, so much, brother. And if I could, just this once, if people want to donate to the stream to support it, if you could consider PayPal first, because Anne doesn't get paid till Friday, that would be absolutely delightful. But super chats are just as good, and memberships are even better. So that's that out the way. There he is.
Check the hairy hands of Devon. Big Woo discuss.
The hairy hands of Devon. Well, Scott.
Something tells me that's why does Devon have hairy hands?
Well, it's an area in England, down on the south coast. I'll dig
So
into
we're not
that.
talking about an individual named Devon with hairy hands.
Well, maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe it is. Maybe I've totally picked it up wrong, and it is some big hairy dude called Devon. Who knows? Bit of a soy name
I
for
don't
the
know.
UK.
Maybe that's the name of
I don't know.
Sasquatch.
I don't know
Devon.
many Devons in the UK. That's a bit soy. Bit soy. I don't know. So, was your sister like? Did it scare her, or was it just a dream?
She said it was a scary dream.
Yeah.
No, but, because it's one of those dreams that unnerve you or whatever. Obviously, I guess in the dream she said she felt like she was going to die or something like that. Like there was just a scary feeling in the dream. Like it wasn't enough to like terrify her where she's like, super disturbed by it, but it was enough to like make her tell my mom, I had a really weird dream, crazy dream, And so I meant that's what happened, and just found that interesting. And then on top of that, because while me and my mom were talking about that, my brother kind of joined into the conversation, and that's my brother that has been experiencing the shadow people, right? And I took the opportunity right there. I was like, hey man, you said you saw, you've seen things in the mirror before, I was like, well, what did you see? And he was like, well, the one I remember the most, and here we go, we're about to add to this. We're about to add to this, guys.
Oh, really?
He said, yeah.
But there's more.
Yes, but wait, there's more. He was like, well, the one I remember the most, he said, was the time that I turned. He said he turned, he looked in the mirror, and he saw a girl wearing white.
In the mirror?
Yeah.
Not good,
Like,
dude.
Like behind him or something in the mirror. Now what's interesting about all of this is that mirror, if you're to turn and face it, it reflects back. You're looking towards the kitchen.
Oh.
Okay, that mirror faces the kitchen. So if you were to stand in front of it in the living room, you would see the area, the island, the refrigerator, that same area. So I'm starting to think this activity is around the kitchen area, around that area of the house.
Are you wanting me to get Bill Bean to nip in for a cup of coffee at your house one of these times when he's going through Kansas? I'm not even joking, dude. I'm not even joking, man.
And I'll tell you guys about something off air that happened. Because I don't know if I want to share that on air. But I think it plays a major role in some of this. But it's very interesting. And then, on top of that, you add on top of that the fact, remember I said that my friend had come over with his girlfriend and she said she saw a girl. I don't know if I if I told you about this, Joe. I told Kev about this, but my friend quite a few years ago, he brought his girlfriend over, and she's very opened up, just like Ange is. A lot of similarities between her and Ange. You know, like just that natural lightning rod.
Yeah,
sort of.
right.
Yeah. And when they came over, she said, like, pretty much immediately when they got in the house, she looked at me and she said, "There's a girl here." I was like, "What?" And we just got to look at her like, "What?" And she's like, "I saw a girl when we were pulling up to your house, standing by the tree. We have a giant catappa tree in front of our house." And she said, "I saw a girl standing by the tree," you know, and then she just kind of faded off, you know, disappeared, you know, whatever, you know. And she said that she was wearing old clothes, like from the 1800s, from like the Civil War era. So I thought that was really interesting. And I never thought about, you know, I never really thought about that from then. I mean, that happened years ago.
Is there history around your location to do with that, Scotty?
Perhaps.
This town was founded by a Confederate sympathizer who broke off from the abolitionists that founded Topeka. So they came out here and they founded Tecumseh, Kansas. There's a lot of weird history, man, around here. Like, I don't even know, like, if we were to like start digging on this property or something, I mean, it's kind of like one of those things where you could like hit buried Confederate treasure and all kinds of weird stuff, you know. I mean, just I'm sure a lot of wild things happened back in the day in this area that it's hard to know, but I'm kind of interested now in going back and like researching who owned this property before my grandfather owned it, and all of that. I know that there used to be a rock quarry that was here.
We spoke about that, remember?
Yeah. And that a lot of the rock that was used to build the dam, the dam that, you know, on the lake that's by here, Lake Shawnee, was actually quarried out of our property, which is kind of wild. So I don't know. Yeah, the quarry thing. I mean, first of all, I got to think accidents. Did rocks fall on people that work out here? You know, were there, you know, machinery accidents? People being crushed. I mean, who knows? And then even before then, I mean, what happened during the Civil War era? What happened with a lot of the Native Americans out here? You know, you had like the Trail of Tears and
that was
all of that. Yeah, you had all that going on, you know, with the federal troops massacring Native Americans and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened in this area, and it's just hard to chalk it down to any one thing. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just I'm trying to you know, connect the dots and make some correlations and do a little kind of, you know, do a little paranormal investigating around here. And so far, all I can come up with is that we may have the spirit of a young girl.
You may have a shadow dude.
We have something going on, man.
Well, Mikhail in the chat
could have
room,
shadow dude coming around.
our good friend Mikhail, he says you better watch, you know, Scotty, when you're digging into this, just in case you dig up even more. And I appreciate where he's coming from there. And you're getting a lot of love from the chat room, Scotty. And some people, they seriously agree with me, you know, about the Bill Bean thing. Even if he's passing through there, dude, just get him to come in for a cup of tea or something. Come in for a cup of coffee. Get the vibe. See what he feels in there, you know. I'm telling you, man, because, listen, when you have a portal like this, when do these stories ever end well, Joe? When you start...
I fail to see when they ever end well.
Yeah, exactly. I used to be one of these people that thought like there was good spooks and bad spooks. But the more that I look into it, no, they might pretend to be good to gain a foothold, gain your trust, but they're not.
Who has thunder going off in the background?
You like that, dude?
You are totally
something.
adding to the vibe of all of this. I just gotta thunder in Scotland.
I
That's
play
You
it.
got thunder and like thunder snow or something going
No,
on
I
there.
play it in the background when we're talking about this kind of thing. It kind of plays away. It's like rain, and then you get a crack of thunder now and again.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I thought that was actual thunder in the background.
See, I've got see, the stream is coming on, boys. We've got sound effects and everything, man. Come on.
You are slick. You are very slick, my friend.
So, Joe, when you were at your last property, when you and Ange were really under spiritual attack, I mean, does any of this like ring a bell with you? Like, were the kids picking up on anything?
Oh, of course, man. I mean, it's it doesn't even really matter where you are. Personally, I think it has more to do with who you are and your ability to receive the type of stuff that's going on around you or perceive it. I don't have that type of perception. Me personally, I just don't.
Same here, Joe. That's why when I had that little fleeting corner of the eye thing in the toilet, it was quite, that was big for me, you know, because I talk about the paranormal, but I think that's the closest I've really come to, touching it.
It's the thing, and that's the thing. I'm not personally experiencing any of this. It's the people around me that are experiencing, right? So I'm just kind of being investigator right now. I'm just trying to connect the dots, correlate everything, trying to make sense of what's going on here. And, so far this is the picture that is being painted. Well, I don't know.
Our gifts, our abilities lie elsewhere. It's the only way I can tell you, Kev. We just have different abilities is all, and, but some people can visualize these things or have these experiences much more often and much more profound, than others.
Well,
I think one more thing to add to this was because my mom told me about it today, and it's another one of these things that it happens and then you end up forgetting about it, and then it gets brought up later, and then it's like, oh, okay. I think a few years ago as well, her and my younger brother were outside, and they thought that they heard kids laughing. Like children laughing.
I find that common, believe it or not. Often hear the laughter of children or voices,
and it freaked them out, right? And I kind of vaguely remember that happening because they came in and they're like, did you hear like kids or something laughing? And I was like, no. And they're like, we could have swore we heard kids laughing outside, and it was dark. It was already night, so obviously the spook factor gets ratcheted up. And we live in kind of a rural area, and so that's just another thing to add to all of this. And I don't know. I guess we'll see where it goes from here. We'll see how. I'll just have to wait till the next experience, I guess. And
well, you've already creeped my mum out. She's already been messaging and say I've got the creeps. So yeah, big time. And I want to give a big, huge shout out to Jill and to Marty as well. Thank you so much. And before we move away from the paranormal woo, let's take a quick look at what DJ Bison was asking us to have a look into. Dartmoor's hairy hands. An evolving myth.
So it's not somebody's hairy hands. Why, it's the hairy hands of Dartmoor.
I like this. I was based down near Devon. I was in Blandford. I think that is actually in Devon, if I remember rightly. But weird place, dude. Weird place. Lots of money down there as well. One of the most popular articles we've done on WASD looked at the Dartmoor legend of Jay's grave. A few readers asked about other local legends, the most common request being for more information on the legend of the hairy hands. Well, this sounds perfect. This sounds really cool.
It sure does.
Yep. The hairy hands is a ghost story that focuses on a stretch of road which supposedly had a high number of accidents during the early 20th century. Now, the suggested cause for the loss of control of these vehicles was given to be a supernatural interference. The legend is set between Post Bridge and two bridges on the B3212. And according to the stories, the hands appear suddenly, seize the steering wheel of a car and the handlebars of a motorbike, or the handlebars, sorry, and then force the victim off the road. Now, in these early cases, the hands are described as being invisible. So how do they know they're hairy?
I was just gonna say that.
Do they feel hairy?
Do they? I don't know, but
Maybe they've just got Velcro gloves on. They're sheep
let
down that
me
way.
say this. Let me say this. If a pair of hands end up showing up and pulling my car off the road, I'm freaking out, dude.
Yeah, big time, big time.
I'm totally freaking out.
What are you
Ain't
making
no
of this
doubt
so
about it.
far, Scott? What were you making of this, dude? Pair of hands? Just big hairy hands? What the hell?
I think there's a joke to be made here about, what's been said about hairy hands.
You be careful because
but-
you've got a portal in your house. Those hairy hands might just be on the kitchen unit the next time your mum goes in there. So
I'm just saying, we've all heard of Harry Palmer,
well, very true. Very, very true. We've gone there early. But it says since around 1910, drivers and cyclists had allegedly been reporting unusual accidents, and the victims reporting that their vehicle had swerved violently and steered off the side of the road. Some described that it was as if something had wrenched the vehicle out of their control. Now, this could happen to cars, motor coaches, cyclists, and even pony and traps. So in 1921, Dr. E.H. Helby, a very English name there, Dr. E.H. Helby, I presume, who was at the time serving as the medical officer at the nearby Dartmoor prison, lost control of his motorcycle and sidecar. Now, in the sidecar were seated his two children who survived. He had just about enough time to warn the children to jump before he was thrown from his bike and killed. Now, his children related that as he shouted at them to get to safety, he was fighting against an invisible force in his efforts to control the bike. On August 26th of the same year, a young British Army captain lost control of his motorcycle and was thrown onto the verge. He was described by the local media as being, quote, a very experienced rider, and in response to questioning, the captain stated, "It was not my fault. Believe it or not, something drove me off the road. A pair of hairy hands closed over mine. I felt them as plainly as ever I felt anything in my life. Large, muscular, hairy hands. I thought I fought them for all I was worth, but they were just too strong for me. They forced the machine into the turf at the edge of the road, and I knew no more till I came to myself lying a few feet away on my face on the turf." Predictably, perhaps, on October the 14th, the Daily Mail picked up the story under the title The Unseen Hands. A coherent narrative was made and the series of events became national news. Now, I need to pause there because at that point, it's been put out there into the public consciousness. And then maybe anyone who has a crash from that point on, it might be a good kind of excuse. The hairy hand straw man, we'll put all the blame on him. I'm not saying that because this was obviously something real to begin with, but we can't discount.
You can hear the I wasn't drunk. It was hairy hands.
Exactly.
He forced me off the shoulder of the road.
Then the hands seem to have gone off road. In the summer of 1924, the well-known folklore enthusiast, I'll get that right, Theo Brown, was staying in a caravan about half a mile from the B3212. The author of Devon Ghosts in 1982 remembered, "I knew there was some power very seriously menacing us near, and I must act very swiftly. As I looked up to the little window at the end of the caravan, I saw something moving, and as I stared, I saw it was the fingers and palm of a very large hand with many hairs on the joints on the back of it, clawing up and up to the top of the window, which was a little open. I knew it wished to do harm to my husband sleeping below. I knew that the owner of the hand hated us and wished us harm. And I knew it was no ordinary hand. and that
No, of course
no
not.
blow or shot would have any power over it. Now, almost unconsciously, I made the sign of the cross and I prayed very much that we might be kept safe. At once, the hand slowly sank down out of sight, and I knew the danger was gone. And there we have it again. Praying. I don't care what people's own belief systems are, but this is a common denominator, folks.
Sure is.
I did say a thankful prayer and fell at once into a peaceful sleep. Now, we stayed in that spot for several weeks, but I never felt the evil influence again near the caravan. But I did not feel happy in some places not far off, and would not for anything have walked alone on the moor at night or on the tor above the caravan. Now, a further anecdote can be found in Michael Williams' 2003 book, Supernatural Dartmoor. The author was told by journalist Rufus Endley that he was driving near Postbridge when, quote, a pair of hands gripped the driving wheel and I had to fight for control. When he successfully avoided crashing his car, the hands disappeared. Now, Rufus asked that the story not be published until after his death, so he did not have the opportunity to further check out that report. Now, that's interesting. That's
Yeah, I
very
mean,
interesting.
Why would he wait?
Because of the ridicule, probably, eh?
Probably, yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Like
Look
us.
at that bridge.
Yeah, there's,
Just,
there's probably...
it's a
That's like the ones that trolls live under, right?
exactly. It's not like anything you're gonna drive cars over. You know.
Back in the day, the old horses and buggies probably went over that, and this one in
Yeah,
the
right.
background here, that's probably where the road is now, right? I would imagine.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. Another anonymous post recently placed the following on a ghost enthusiast website. I live on the road that goes towards Princeton, but I have I have heard it happen to people elsewhere in Devon. My uncle was working for a builder's late on a site when he got held up and came home a different way and had to go down that same road. Now, he was driving a small van and said it was very dark, and first he felt like the van was being followed or someone was watching him and just felt spooked. Anyway, and then he thinks he saw someone on the side of the road, but he knew no one was there. When he went further down the road, he felt his van grabbed, like by a force, and he could not keep the steering wheel straight, so he was going to go into the side of the road. Now, he's a builder, and a big strong man, not a weakling, and was trying to turn the wheel as hard as he could, but no way. Then he felt something on the wheel and looked down, as his eyes were just on the road till then, and saw a pair of large hands covered in hair on the wheel, grabbing it and pushing the other way. Now, his van went up onto the verge and banged hard onto the grass moor and almost wound up hitting a tree, but stopped. Just then, the hands disappeared, but he was really scared, and luckily someone came up the road a few minutes later behind him in another car, and they stopped to see he was all right, as he was up on the bank, so had clearly come off the road. And he was all right, but was in shock. Now, my uncle still swears blind that this happened to him, and he is not someone who admits to things like this. This was 20 years ago, but he did not know about the story of the hairy hands until he was told about it. So there's probably a lot more we could get into there, but we've got lots more to get into. But the hairy hands, I mean, this is a new one on me. Usually you see apparitions, you maybe see the white lady. I have never heard of this. This is bizarre. And for multiple sources to be... You're going back to the early 1900s here. This is a time when people weren't like they weren't fantasists, they weren't looking for fame or fortune by telling stories that would have made people think they were
There
absolutely
really wasn't a
mad.
market for it yet.
No.
You know, there
Nothing
wasn't
at all.
really a way for people to capitalize on it, let's say. So,
No.
yeah, unless you're writing a story or a book, you know.
Yeah, all that would do back then was bring you more ridicule than it would anything else, right? So why would you make something up like that? It's very, very interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of anything like
Well,
that.
here we go.
All I gotta say is, does anybody know where Thing is from the Addams Family?
Well, get this, guys, get this, because notably, spectral hands do show up in other places. For example, in Elias Owen's Welsh Folklore, a collection of folk tales and legends of North Wales, 1887, there is a story about a man by the name of Roberts. Now, instead of attending church on Sunday, Roberts went gathering nuts in the nearby field. When he saw a plentiful supply on a bush, he was just about to reach down when a disembodied hand appeared. Roberts assumed that the hand was the devil's own and mended his ways, abandoning his nuts for a higher goal. That sounds a whole lot different than it's meant to sound. But yeah, so look, there's the big hand from under the bed.
Yeah, about that. Just saying.
But why would you make up a story like 1887? Yeah, there was a hand in the field. People are going to think you're absolutely bat crap crazy and think, all right, you missed church. So people might be saying, well, you're a bad man, you've missed church, what was going on there? I don't think your first go-to would be, well, I'll tell you what happened. There was this big hairy hand floating along in a field. I don't know, it just doesn't make sense, right?
For you gamers out there, you'll get this Master Hand from Super Smash Brothers. Just saying.
I need to check in the Discord.
I was going to say, what does this mean?
He's a character in Super Smash Brothers.
I got you.
He's just a giant hand. They call him Master Hand. So I threw it out there. Just a little bit of gamer nerdery for everyone out there.
Quickly, I've got one more thing before we move on to Joe's. It's Devon again. The Devil's Footprints. This comes from Jason over in the Discord. So it says here, the mysterious footprints which appeared overnight in heavy snowfall in southern Devon in 1855 have never been adequately explained. Now, according to contemporary reports, they stretched for over 100 miles and went through solid walls and haystacks, appearing on the other side as though there was no barrier. The extent of the footprints may have been exaggerated at the time, and they may have been the result of a freak atmospheric condition. What kind of atmospheric condition puts footprints on the ground? What even does that?
God.
But in truth, the footprints, if that's what they were, still remain a complete mystery. And on the night of the 8th of February, 1855, heavy snowfall blanketed the countryside and small villages of southern Devon. The last snow is thought to have fallen around midnight, and between this time and around 6 a.m. the following morning, something or some things left a myriad of tracks in the snow stretching for 100 miles or more from the River Exe to Totnes on the River Dart. Now, the early risers were the first to find them. Strange hoof-shaped prints in straight lines. Now, hoofs, we're talking goat feet, we're talking something pretty bad. Yeah,
That's interesting.
passing over rooftops, through walls, and covering huge areas of land. Now, a set of prints were even supposed to have bridged a 2-mile span of the River Exe, continuing on the other side as if the creature had just walked over the water. It soon became clear that the phenomenon was widespread, and some of the more scientifically minded examined the prints in detail. One naturalist sketched some of the marks and measured the distance between them. It was found to be 8.5 inches. Now, this spacing seemed to be consistent wherever the tracks were measured, and it was also noted that the way in which they were set out, one in front of the other, suggested a biped rather than a creature walking on 4 legs. Some clergymen suggested that the prints belonged to the devil, so you all better get to church and repent right away. I just added that in. Who was roaming the countryside in search of sinners. A great ploy to fill the churches, while others rejected the idea as superstition. Now, it's true that a feeling of unease had spread through some of the population, who watched carefully to see if the strange footprints would return. They did not, and after a couple of days, the news spread out of Devon and made the national press. In 1855, can you imagine what people were saying about this?
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's like the back page of the newspaper at that time.
Don't know, eh? It says the phenomenon sparked correspondence in some of the leading papers, including the Times and the Illustrated News. This brought more accounts to light, and led to a plethora of speculation by eminent scientists and laymen alike. It seems that most of the southern villages of Devon, from Totnes to Topsham, had been inundated with the prints in all manner of absurdities. Some stopped abruptly, and continued after a large break. Others stopped at walls as high as 14 feet, only to continue on the other side, leaving untouched snow on top of the wall. It sounds like they went right through it. Some were even said to have travelled through narrow apertures, such as drain pipes.
Wow.
That's bizarre. Now,
Yeah, it is, dude. This is crazy.
the papers picked up that some kangaroos had escaped from a private zoo belonging to Mr. Fish at Sidmouth. Why would they? Does a kangaroo have hoofed shaped like mammoth in the chat room? You tell us. You wake up and you see kangaroos in your gardens. Do they have hoofs? Tell me. I don't think they do. They're ready for a fight. The old kangaroos.
And kangaroos don't they bounce on both feet? You know.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, they do, man. And they
They're
don't go
not
through
quite-
walls.
they don't walk one foot in front of the other.
And they've
no,
got big,
not-
massive feet, do they not? The ones they jump on. Just
Yeah,
saying.
and wouldn't you see like their tail, being dragged behind and all?
Yeah.
Just no way that
Not
was
a
a freaking
kangaroo.
kangaroo.
So
Come on,
Sir Richard Owen, that's Sir Richard Owen, friend of the royals then, just saying,
Yeah.
an eminent biologist, suggested that the tracks were made by badgers.
By badgers, of course. That's exactly what they are. Because badgers have hoof marks too.
And they're bipedal. I mean, everyone sees
And they're
badgers walking
bipedal.
on 2
Yes,
feet, right?
Bipedal badgers.
Yeah, so he explained that the strange shape of the prints as the result of freeze-thaw action. This explanation only holds as much ground as the other theories given at the time, and these included Roman raccoons. We don't get raccoons over here in the UK.
You don't get raccoons over in the UK.
Where do we get raccoons in the UK? Come on.
I don't know. I mean,
Rats? Swans? A swan? What?
you guys seriously don't have raccoons?
No. Not that I've ever heard of. But then again, with
don't have
Mandela
raccoons.
effects, we don't get raccoons. Maybe we do now. Who knows? Maybe we've got kangaroos as well, Scott.
How
Who
about
knows?
catcoons and cat? Well, I know you've obviously got kangaroos. So if
And
you got kangaroos, then
not
why not
indigenous. Kangaroos are not indigenous to the UK.
Well, it says here they are.
It said it was a dude that had them a private zoo.
A private zoo, you say?
Yeah, well, he might have had kangaroos, but there's no British
Okay.
kangaroos. Not that I know of. So, where are we now? These could explain some of the tracks made at night, but certainly not all of them. Oh, hang on. Another theory that a hot air balloon passed overhead trailing a rope.
Oh my goodness.
I know it's
Wow.
1855, but dearie me, did they not have an ounce of common sense back then?
Well, apparently not.
Well, it says there are also similar scattered cases from other parts of the world, and also one written account in Britain, according to Ralph of Coggeshall, who also recorded strange aerial phenomenon during his era, a writer from the 13th century. On the 9th of July 1205, strange hoofprints appeared after a violent electrical storm. Now, in mid-July, these tracks would only be visible in the soft earth, and the electrical storm suggested some kind of natural phenomenon as yet unknown.
Hey,
You know what I
question.
would say? Go ahead, Joe, and then I'll throw my little.
I was gonna throw out there a solar flare or something
Maybe.
like that. You know?
What I was suggesting is that what if the energy being released from a violent electrical storm opened up a portal?
Yeah. Or perhaps these Carrington events happened and they wouldn't know. I mean, it would be some sort of really cool phenomenon, having the northern lights maybe that far south or something like that. But outside of that, there was no electronics to be fried or any inconveniences as a result of
But how would
electricity
it
going out.
how would it create the footprints?
I'm sitting here thinking, what, did the
No,
sun
but
throw off
something
feet?
like that. You're right. Something like that could open up portals, or even like you said,
some kind of
some
an
sort
inner
of merging of of dimensions, galaxy, universes.
Boom, something comes through, decides
Yep.
it's going to take a stroll through the snow or something.
Yeah.
Well, just to round this off, it
Where am
says
I?
the
Where am
devil's
I?
the devil's footprints remain an intriguing mystery that will only be solved if the phenomenon happens again and can be examined more closely.
Yes. Let's see.
I like that.
You need to get some hoof print snowshoes, and the next time it snows, Kev, just go out there and freaking lay them down, and then that's good clickbait for you.
Wouldn't be the first set of hoofs that I've followed up a hill, Joe, with my Velcro gloves on.
I kind of figured.
I'm a master at tracking the hoofed ones.
Oh, see, so you become hairy hands, don't you?
Can't say anything
That's
else
so-
without an
that's so
attorney
funny.
here. So where
Well,
are we going now then? Where are we going now? That was really good woo though, folks. And look at this. 209 people in here. Oh,
Very
we're,
nice.
Yeah, we're blowing up on the weekend streams. It's getting bigger, boys. It's getting bigger. I'm loving it.
Very good. Hey, so I got something here. It kind of takes the woo to keeps it at that high intense level with a maybe a side order of fear to go along with it.
Oh, nice.
Thank you, thank you, Express, because the Express has given us a Mayan calendar warning, saying the researcher claims serious problems coming after a new calculation. That's right. When the calculation doesn't work out the first time, recalculate.
Before we get into it though, Joe, wouldn't you agree though that date, that 21st of December 2012, that was us that made that date. That wasn't Mayans.
It was totally ridiculous.
That was our Gregorian translation of something
was
we
ridiculous.
never understood.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. It was totally ridiculous. It says here the Mayans were a civilization known for their architecture, their mathematics, and astronomical beliefs, who dated back to as far as 2000 BC, with many of their impressive constructions still standing in the jungles of southeast Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and western parts of Honduras. In 2012, this ancient population sparked modern-day panic after a calculation based on the end date of a 5,126-year-long cycle in the Mesoamerican long count calendar tipped December 21st for a cataclysmic event. However, Mayan elder Don Carlos Barrios claimed during Amazon Prime's Decoding Baktun series that wasn't the case. The Guatemalan anthropologist stated that the calendar does not mark the end of the world, but instead the start of a new era. He said in 2016, we have what the abuelos saw thousands of years ago. The next cycle of 13 is a cycle related to the element of air. This is a confirmation of these great cycles. In these times, from 2012 to 2016, there were complications, natural disasters, and from 2026 onwards, even worse if we have not managed to stabilize ourselves. It sounds like he's another global warming advocate. It says here, the next cycle of 13 is a cycle related to the air element and ether. He says within 26 years, if humanity survives as such like now, there will be a special connection between all humans. The narrator of the series then went on to explain that why the ancient Mayans believed in the existence of ether, an unexplainable force in the universe. He said ether gases have been studied since the first Greek astronomers as a universal bonding agent, an abundant source of energy that forms throughout the universe. This network was confirmed by quantum physicists when they went looking for the coldest places in the universe and detected energy at temperatures of absolute zero. At that temperature, matter should not vibrate and produce heat. This phenomenon became known as the 0 point field. This means the particles cannot be isolated from each other, but what they found was the molecules were not releasing, but exchanging with each other in sub-zero space. The series went on to give some evidence to prove the existence of this phenomenon. The narrator continued, in an essay, The Auric Timescale and Mayan Factor, Sergei Smelyakov and Yuri Karpenko
Nice. Well done.
conjoined this theory with the 26,000-year cycle known as the precession. This precession is measured as the time it takes for the axis of rotation of the Earth to make a complete passage apositionally to the 12 signs of the zodiac, the Mayan equivalent of beginning the Axlakatun.
And is that the equivalent then of moving into the age of Aquarius?
I
Yeah,
guess.
you know,
Yeah.
I think this all ties in with traversing the galactic plane, entering a new age. This is pretty good. Pretty good. I'm liking this because
Yeah.
you know we're talking, you know it's talking about this ether. They obviously knew that there was you know that something that quantum physics ended up validating later on. You know, and it was something that they
And we've got
that they were.
We've got Mammoth in the chat room saying 0 point, chi, key, great spirit, all the same thing. And the reason I went to that in particular is because in the next couple of months, I'm going to be joined by Mammoth and her husband, who have just qualified as archaeologists in Australia.
Right.
And they're going to come on and they're going to talk about the Aboriginal people and all the good woo that comes
very
from
good.
there. I cannot wait. So Mammoth, yeah, once you get back, you let me know and that's going to happen. But Joe, is there more to this story? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. There's certainly more to this story. It goes on. Pardon me. It goes on to say Smelyakoff and Karpenko divided it according to Phi in the arc epoch of 5,200 tune years, which is 1/5 of that cycle. They say in doing so, they discovered that these epochs were set by the Mayans according to the times they take to transition through these areas of energy, resulting in 12 periods of increasingly shorter duration. This can be historically divided to align with the developments of stellar events like new knowledge, the arrival of spiritual teachers, wars, political changes, and weather disasters. Elizabeth Thoreau, who is a Mayan researcher, then put the findings into simple terms, claiming we are now living in the final stages of the world if we do not act fast. The dates are surprisingly close to the claims of Don Barrios made earlier. She said 2013 is the given date to the end of the 13th Baktun by Smelyakoff and Karpenko. It is also the beginning of an increasingly short cycle of demographic and environmental changes that affect our planet until 2015. These researchers agree with the abuelos that there are serious problems coming our way now the 2015 events have passed. Despite the fears from the predictions, others remain skeptical that any Mayan prediction was even regarding the end of the world. Archaeologist grantee William Saturno said back in 2012, the ancient Mayans predicted the world would continue, that 7,000 years from now, things would be exactly like this. We keep looking for endings. The Mayans were looking for a guarantee that nothing would change. It's an entirely different mindset.
That is, anytime I heard people saying 2012 end date, it wasn't anyone Mayan. It was all like people from the West saying that. And invariably in YouTube videos that would get extraordinary amount of clicks because everyone wants that bleak pill, Scotty, the black pill, the doom,
everybody
the fear.
wants it to end, man. Most people are in pain and just they want it to end.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the end of the world. It has to do with the beginning of a new cycle, the end of one cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. And I believe if you look into it, this is supposed to be a cycle where there's supposed to be kind of like a great awakening. Everyone's supposed to be more connected. A lot of things end up being revealed, and yeah, we're going to go through a lot of pain. There's going to be a lot of issues that we have to deal with, but those are the things we have to, it's basically, we're having to confront, the hard truth. We're having to face reality, right? And once you get through that, then, the truth is a hard thing to take, right? It's not a joyful thing a lot of the times, but it's necessary. You have to go through pain in order to evolve, I guess you could say.
We've got Brian coming in. We've got Brian coming in before he cuts you off, Scott. He's going to come in.
Nice.
Ms. Space Cake. I love it. Can I just call you Space Cake? Because I hate saying Ms. No message. Dang. Dang.
No,
Well,
no, it's
we'll
just-
send a
we-
message
we
to
just
you.
Dancing. We just got the dancing
We just
pineapple.
got the
We got
dancing pineapples.
pineapple.
Joe looks at that pineapple with utter contempt. He thinks, "Why do you do that to yourself, Kev?"
Oh my gosh, it's just hard. This self-deprecation that you continue to do.
And remember, folks, we need just one more member. One more, and we get the traffic code. One
And
more
might I
member.
add, the tiered system that you've come up with is quite excellent.
Yeah, I can even show people it quickly. If I go to this video here and I click on join, you get this coming up. You see £1.99. That gets you in. £4.99 or £8.99. And that depends on what you have got. And if you have nothing, don't worry about it. We're always going to be here every weekend. We're going to be doing the same amount of live streams and safe spaces. The only thing is you won't get to chat on the Sunday special stream, but you still get to watch it. You can still be here. So again, I think that's a really, really good idea. And a big shout out to my friend Google for suggesting that we go down this road. And yes, boys, look at Scott laughing. Look at Joe handling. Yes, the handler helped me. What can I say? What can I say, boys?
It's
Not all bad
okay.
at Google, right?
As long as your handler don't have hairy hands, we're okay.
I'll actually have to ask her next time. I'll say, could I just check your hands quickly, please? Just to make sure, just to make sure.
As long as she's not jerking your wheel in a direction that you don't want to go, we're fine.
So this is weird because the other day, there it is. Okay, I'm going to fire up Photoshop in the background while we're talking here. But Joe, Scotty, the other day, and I think your mum watched this one, Scott. It was a stream I done about the 13 crystal skulls. And
yes.
Yeah, it was after Ellie Marzulli had come on talking about the Nephilim mounds and how in 2011, in the build-up to 2012, we had Native American elders, we had Aztec elders and Mayan elders all going round sacred sites in America, South America as well, to conduct rituals, Joe, to open these actual stargates, portals. And now here we are, 7-8 years on from when that happened, and tell me, does it not seem like there's more portals opening up around the world? Not blaming them per se, but
so
just
supposedly these elders brought the crystal skulls together, right? Or however many crystal skulls are out there, didn't they bring them to the Serpent Mound, here in North America? Is that what they did?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they went to the Serpent Mound. That was the one they went to that I remember off the top of my head.
Okay, and then according to the legend of the crystal skulls, uniting all of them together supposedly would usher in a new age, right?
Yeah.
A new age of enlightenment.
Well, it was to welcome back the sky gods, to open the gates for the sky gods to come back. And as I said to Bill Bean, I take it that's like gods with a small g, and yeah, nothing godly about these things. I don't know. And you look at the Mayan temples and things, the Aztec temples, and it's all serpent symbology, right? You've got that one that on the solstice, you've got the serpent comes down the steps. I mean, I'm not saying they were evil people, right? Don't get me wrong, folks, but snakes are reptiles, and reptiles make me think reptilians. I don't think there's much good going on there.
You gotta wonder. I mean, if you really want to go there with the woo, which usually we do go there with the woo, you gotta wonder when they brought these crystal skulls together, and did they? What was the date that they did it on? 11/11/11.
Yes, it was. Scott,
It was a very interesting date as far as kind of like numerology is concerned. And so you got to wonder, was there something to that? Were they maybe able to help usher in this sort of, transition into a new age that we're seeing? I don't know. I just find it very interesting. And before you did that episode, Kev, I had no idea that they even did that.
No, same here, Scott. Same here, dude. Yep. And yet we done a lot of I remember doing a lot of 2012 stuff on YouTube and things, and never knew that.
No, and so I mean that does kind of put a whole new dynamic on everything. Going well, they did bring the crystal skulls together, or however many they have found so far, and did something around that time. Just kind of makes you wonder.
The traffic cone is getting made. It's been made, folks. It's on its way. I will be telling you, all you members, to refresh very soon. Don't worry. So what else have we got in the grab bag, boys? What else have we got? Look at this. We're almost like, we've only got 25 minutes or so left.
I know, isn't it crazy? We just fly. It flies, I tell you.
And of course, that's a PayPal donation, folks. You can leave a message on there as well. No words at all. Joe, take us somewhere. I'm going to get the traffic cone on, and
Where am I taking us?
well, wherever you want, dude. There's you put a couple of stories in there. I'm traffic coning us up, man.
Now, what kind of traffic cone are we doing?
Oh, just a traffic cone.
A Scottish traffic cone?
Well, all traffic cones are liked by all Scots. They're just varying degrees of traffic cone.
All traffic cones are,
I didn't know if it was a cleaning cone or a traffic cone.
No, it's a traffic cone we're going for. Cleaning cone's not so good. The traffic cone. It's when I dug deeper into the cleaning cone story, Joe, I was finding stories from like 2003 about a Scottish dude who decided to have sexual relations with a traffic cone, but his excuse was, and I shit you not, his excuse was the reason he done that to the cone was because he couldn't find his preferred choice, which was a pair of old trainers.
Wow.
I don't know how you make
Really?
that leap. I don't know how you make the leap from trainers to traffic cone. But I suppose if you're going to like have sexual relations with a pair of shoes, anything goes, right? At that point.
Remember that story we covered a while back where
Yes,
it was the
we
guy in
have.
Florida?
Yes, we have unlocked the new emoji, folks. 75 members. 75 members on the channel. Can you believe
Wow, that's
that?
amazing. I'm telling you, Kev, that's something else.
That's all of these people out there, Joe. And it's you guys as well, because it's not just me here. Yeah, I do the safe space, but it's the whole thing. It's all of you. I want to thank yous too as well, because I couldn't do this every weekend on my own. It wouldn't be half the patter that you guys bring to the table, right? You know that.
Yes.
Don't say anything. Joe's just sitting there, you know. Where we go now? Hang on, I found the right. Oh, hang on, no, wrong one. Oh, no, that worked. Okay, hang on. Save and publish. Save and publish.
So you remember the story we did a while back where they found the guy with a bunch of stolen pool floats?
Wendigos.
Talk about the Wendigo. Eating each other on the Indian Trail is intense.
What's the Wendigos? Anyone know?
I believe they were a tribe, if I remember correctly. Maybe. Possibly.
Wendigo?
Don't
Never heard of them. Never ever heard of
Don't-
them. Not once.
don't exactly quote me on that, but
I'm quoting you,
might
Scott.
be.
If you're wrong, you're wrong. Now, hang on, folks. Hang on. I'm just going to make sure. Pop out the chat. Bring it over here. No, the traffic cone is not there yet. Wait a minute, folks. Wait then out. Right. Joe, we've got
It's
stories
going to
here.
take a little
Where is
bit
this
for
traffic
the
cone you speak of.
it's going to take a little bit for the mothership to process.
Wait,
Yeah.
but
Be
this
patient.
is the mothership. It shouldn't be taking this.
Oh,
long. Come on.
it's on there. It's on the list. So hang on. It should be there any minute soon, folks. It might need to be approved because I think they
Is that
usually.
right? It's a traffic cone.
But hey, the algorithm doesn't know that, dude. It's got to look in case I've put something disgusting and grotesque in there.
Now, even if you did, how in the hell could you see it? It's so small.
It doesn't matter to the algorithm, dude.
I guess you're right.
The
It must take a minute.
The algo sees all, Joe.
Yeah, the algo sees all. Exactly, Scott. Exactly. Let me see. It's not there yet. Hopefully it'll be there soon, though, folks. Right. Another story before we go, guys. Come on. We can't get too bogged down here. We've got Well,
Okay,
we've
so
got-
this is what I got here.
I've got a funny one after that. I've got a funny one to take us out about the
I've
iPhone.
got a new book that explores how the concept of the multiverse has evolved. It says here there's no bigger question than whether the universe is all there is. Scientists are juggling these ideas for what a multiverse, if one exists, might look like. Our universe can be one bubble in a vast cosmic fizz, or one of many 3D domains stacked like pages of a book. Sounds familiar? In higher dimensional space. Or one series of events that continually branches off from other histories in a tree of alternate realities. All these possibilities, while tantalizing, remain unconfirmed. The prospects of many universes have intrigued scholars for millennia and have evolved to mean different things as humankind's concepts of the universe has zoomed out from a single solar system to a galaxy to a great cosmic web. The multiverse debate is like a long-running TV series with new characters replacing the old ones, said science journalist Tom Siegfried, a former editor-in-chief of Science News and currently contributing correspondent, writes in The Number of the Heavens, his new book and a recap of that age-old discourse. Each rendition of the multiverse debate has revisited common themes, including whether science has any business speculating about unobservable realms. Each iteration has had its believers and its naysayers, but those curious minds have been united in their common fascination with one of the most profound mysteries of all time. What is the entirety of existence? So that is the question. How in the hell do you even know? How can you figure this out? You know?
Boom! Traffic cones in the room. We love it.
We have a traffic cone.
We have the traffic cone. There it is. It's there. It's loud.
Excellent.
It's proud. So if you remember,
very nice indeed.
can I give a shout out to Amy as well? Thank you very much, Amy. Much appreciated. So yeah, multiverse, Joe.
So how does one prove a multiverse exists?
Well, this is something I spoke to Brian Keating about. I can't remember if it was on or off air, but this is basically something that could be hard to ever prove. It's one of those things that really, how do you test for that? How do you reproduce?
Doesn't it become more philosophical then?
Yeah, exactly, Joe. Exactly what Brian said. It's more of a philosophical kind of argument or like talking point, as opposed to, how can you recreate this? How can you prove it?
So I guess
in a
the
lab?
argument then is what business do scientists have trying to tackle that question if in fact it is a philosophical type of question and not something that can be measured or the scientific method be applied?
Well, I think it's Leonard Susskind, the guy that's working on quantum gravity. He says that hopefully the more we learn about the quantum realm, that may provide the proof or the indications, shall we say, as opposed to proof that there are other verses out there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess so. It's one of those questions about, scientists, are you making good use of your time in going down that road when it's very hard to, because you can't access it, you can't see them,
And
so
you definitely
then,
can't reproduce it in a lab yet.
Can't reproduce it in a lab. Can you necessarily use an atom smasher to reproduce it? I don't know.
Here's an interesting question. Here's a very interesting angle to look at this from. What if we create a universe simulation and we look at this from simulation theory? Wouldn't that in a way prove the existence of multiple universes if we're talking about it from a simulation perspective? Like, say we achieve the ability to pretty much simulate an entire universe, physics, all of that stuff in a future supercomputer situation, right? Then wouldn't we have essentially created another universe? Wouldn't we essentially have created a parallel universe, but it's running in a simulation? I don't know. Just kind of looking at it from that angle.
Who knows? I mean, I hear what you're saying, but is that truly or does that make us part of a multiverse if it's just existing in a computer, though? And again, I don't know. It's not.
But if we're a simulation, right? Wouldn't that mean that there's levels to it? Simulations within a simulation within a simulation. Wouldn't you say that that's kind of on the same level as like stacked?
Well, that's the whole argument for the
Universes?
simulation, because if we do create a simulation of a universe that's indistinguishable from, it's basically a new simulation, then if we're able to do that, the question must be, are we in one ourselves? So that's the premise of it, isn't it? That's like where Bostrom, I listen to him a lot. That's how he explains it,
And then is that level above us? Is it a simulation? And is that level above that a simulation?
It's
Is
like
that
Russian dolls, right?
Yeah. So you're talking about pages stacked in a book, almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think we have to kind of look at that angle of it as well, as opposed to like a physical other universe. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That they're trying to look for. Who knows? I mean, I just thought I would throw that out there.
I mean, I think we are part of a multiverse. I think there are.
I think so
Scots
too.
and Joes and everyone in the chat room. Maybe 3 people from the chat room. Maybe Mammoth, Mannerus, and Chris P. The first 3 names I've seen there. Maybe they're hosting Weekend Woo. Maybe we're out there, Scotty. Maybe we're like paying memberships to their channels. We're taking. Absolutely. And then if that's the case then, and we're opening portals up to other dimensions and everything else, I mean, is this why we're getting glitches? And I know some people poo-poo the whole Mandela thing. I get that. But if you have experienced a Mandela effect, remember, it's really personal. Nobody can tell you how you used to remember something. And I get it. Sometimes we remember things wrong. But there are certain ones that make you go, whoa, hang on a minute here. Like the one we had with New York, Scott, the start of World War One. What got the Americans into World War One? I think all of us on the panel, well, right away, Lusitania, right? The sinking of the Lusitania. Well, no more. Black Tom Island. And you guys are American and you hadn't even heard of that. So is that what happened on a timeline next to us? And again, folks, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's just a conversation. It's how can any of us prove or disprove any of this? It's really weird.
We're all right now. Right now, just this conversation that we're having right now, it's all kind of speculative, philosophical.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people, Joe, you've disappeared.
Yeah.
We hear you, but we don't see you. Joe's on a different timeline now. There he is. Look at him, look. You see, now you've put that brilliant camera of yours out of focus because you keep going away to touch yourself. Stop touching yourself when we're on the stream, man.
It is the hairy hands of Devin.
Well, some people say, and I think one of the guests I've got coming up on the show next month, this month, what if time ended in 2012? I don't adhere to that. I mean, it doesn't really compute with me, but some people think it. Some people say it. Some people say back in 2001, on that special day in September, time got a bit skewed. The magical kind of ritual element to what happened on that day, that was something to do with time. I don't know. But
I don't know either, dude. I really don't know.
No, there's no way of testing it. There's no way of proving it.
It's all speculation, philosophy. It has very little to do with science.
But my good friend, Geordie, he's not on yet. Myself and Scott usually get a laugh because Geordie's talking. He talks about parallel realities, like infinite numbers of them. And he was very,
I could see that.
When I said multiple dimensions, he totally corrected me. He's like, I would say more parallel realities. And that really took me
Because
aback. I'm thinking,
people view those dimensions as the reality, but you can't because they're two totally different things.
and then you get the ayahuasca, where that takes you to, they say, other dimensions. I've never tried it, so I don't know.
I think it's weird, right? Because those things have a different effect on me than it does others. Like others, for example, you hear people having these experiences where they talk to other entities and things like that.
Fly out the top of your head.
That doesn't happen to me. You know what happens? I'll tell you what happens.
You sick.
People melt into furniture and like you paint, you listen to Pink Floyd and you paint Tide on the wall and you drool on yourself.
Well, that was like our man Charlie Robinson. The whole takeaway he had, and he done it the right way. He had like the proper shaman. He had people dancing about in grass skirts and all the kind of stuff going on. And he says, all I remember though, Kev, is the noise of people purging. There's people being sick everywhere.
Yeah. That Syrian rue that you have to do beforehand, that purge, is brutal.
Somebody in the chat room says death is fake. Well, the old spacesuit, it has a shelf life. But death isn't the end for the light inside of the soul, your energy. Level 2, as I call it.
Yeah, the flesh suit, you're right. It has a shelf life, and we've got to shed our skin, shed the flesh suit, and move on to the next level at some point. But
what's interesting is at one point in time we weren't. That we weren't mortal. We weren't in a flesh suit, but we fell. And when we fell, we're stuck here for X amount of time. The oral record, the Book of Adam and Eve, says, I want to say it was 5,000 years, 6,000 years. I can't remember what it was, but God said, like, I'll be back. 5,000 years, 6,000 years. Don't worry. You got to do your time, but. And they kept killing themselves over it because of what they had and what they became, it just gives a whole new, you look at Adam and Eve in a whole new light, because oftentimes people don't equate Adam and Eve as being quite human in a way. They're not, but in this case, they really take on a human form, and it shows just how devastating it was for them to have to be human and be separated from God, because remember, they walked with him. So that's...
Well, do you think... I know this sounds really weird and new agey, right? And I hate that new agey thing, because it spoils a lot of good talking points. But do you think we agree to come here beforehand, Joe?
What's that?
Do you think we agree to come here beforehand?
Do I think we agreed to come here?
Yeah,
no, I think what happened is we were put here, but even so, like, think about it. Our existence, a lot of these entities, the hairy hands, if you will, the hairy hands aren't confined to some of the limitations that we have. Like, for example, time is a prison. This whole idea of being stuck at this moment. It's weird, because other entities aren't limited to that type of existence. They don't have those restraints like we do.
So, Joe, see the fallen ones then, like myself and Ellie were talking about the Nephilim and things, and how they were like having relations, not with traffic cones, but with the women down here on Earth, and you had their offspring and things, right? And then God comes in and resets it all. And you hear about, was it those fallen ones that get locked away in like some people call Saturn, the kind of prison where all these things are held? Or did they just get wiped out?
I think, honestly, Kev, black holes are those prisons.
Think so?
And yeah, because Enoch describes them to a T. The Book of Enoch actually gets into it, and he's taken on a journey through the heavens, And in the celestial heavens, he's visiting these places, and they describe the prison of these fallen ones, these entities. And he's got this archangel for a tour guide, and they describe a black hole to a T, that not even light escapes, that kind of thing, and you'd have to read it for yourself. I don't want to like butcher it, because I could do it a very grave injustice, but all I can tell you is that I truly believe that's the purpose of these black holes. They truly are the prison of the fallen ones. And what I worry about is, as they use these particle accelerators to create black holes, whether they be for nanoseconds, what they do is they open a hole. There's a way out. It's a gate, a gateway. And what I've learned is that these entities are not confined to the same type of, or have the same limitations that we do. So size doesn't matter. Of the size of the door doesn't matter. Just that the door exists is what matters.
Yeah, they don't have to follow the same rules that we do.
They don't. They're not confined to those.
We have certain constraints put on us, right? Certain restrictions, you know what I mean? Within our realm, they don't have those constraints. They don't have those restrictions. Like you said, Joe, time, right? It's almost like time is a construct that was put on us for a reason.
For a reason.
You know what I mean?
Right. And think about this also, that it was these kinds of events that brought down the Tower of Babel and scattered the languages. Because if you think about it, we all came from the same two people. So if that's the case, we should all speak the same language, but we don't. We don't, because the languages were scattered. Because God said, if I don't do this, there's nothing that these humans will be capable of, that they won't be capable of. They could do anything, and that they set their mind to. And now look at us now. Now the languages are again unified through technology. So we're at that time again. And it just seems to me that cataclysms are coming.
Well, Mark Peters in the chat agrees with you. He said, God said what to look out for as signs of his return, and we took the wrong path. Black holes is where I always thought Satan's go on lockdown. So you're not the only one there, dude.
No. Are you serious?
And Miss Space Cake says time is an illusion. I absolutely agree with you. I think it's something that we've totally constructed ourselves. I really do. I think probably aliens...
then how do you free yourself from that construct?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It can't be, because it's tangible.
Well, remember, it's not. Remember, it's not. And it's not time.
The flesh suit.
It's not time, because it's space time. Yeah. The two are attached,
Oh yeah.
And like we were just talking about before, I mean, the spacesuit does have a shelf life. It does come to an end.
Right.
But what happens afterward, right? It's people.
The Bible's pretty clear about it, to be honest with you. The thing is it is not a romantic, it is not a flashy type of explanation, so people don't like it. But it's very simple. God laid it all out in the Bible. He says, when you die,
somebody just called you Joe Begley
in
the chat room.
The dead don't know about the passage of time. They don't experience dreams. They're not conscious. Nothing. They experience nothing. It is nothing. It's like shutting a light switch off. The light is on. You shut the light off. Boop. It goes off. Now, interesting thing is, to you, when you die, you're instantly transported to the end, because you don't perceive the passage of time. So grandma is dead in the grave. If you get visited by grandma, chances are it ain't grandma. Better yet, I'm gonna say that it's not.
Well, what about then when people say that they have a near-death experience and grandma and grandpa and family members were waiting for them? Is that the actual entities that were grandma and grandpa?
No, I think what that is your brain going through basically like a DMT experience. These near-death experience, you hallucinate. You know, I did it. Guess what? When I died and came back, I didn't experience crap. It was like light switch, back on. And I was like, whoa, what the hell happened?
No tunnel.
You know?
No
Nothing.
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 You're going to a dark place, dude. Only joking, Joe.
I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that they said, man, you were dead. No, I wasn't.
Well, you hear a lot of people. You hear the whole thing about there's a whole line of thought and thinking of people who say, don't go to the white light, don't go to the tunnel, that it's a trap, and that you're supposed to actually resist it.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I look at it more as if it's a hallucination, because honestly, there's going to come a time when it's not. Don't hasten the day. That's one thing that the Bible says. Don't hasten the day, dude. Don't do it. So I'm not hastening it at all. I take full. You have to. It's hard. It's a balance, because life here on this prison planet kind of sucks, and it kicks your ass. And I don't care if it's somebody that's rich or somebody that's poor or whatever. It doesn't matter. Money doesn't solve your problems here on Earth, because what ends up happening is other problems will surface elsewhere. That's the problem, is that you may think that, oh, well, if I just had more money, if I just had a different this, if I just had a different, it doesn't matter. It doesn't.
And it doesn't matter. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. We all end up 6 feet
Things of
under.
this world will never satisfy. It's an illusion. Much like you say, the time is an illusion. So too is that kind of satisfaction. That's why people sell their souls for fame and fortune, because they think it's going to solve all their issues and make them happy, but it doesn't. And then it ends up destroying them in the end.
Joe Begley. I love it. Seriously?
I'm
There's people
serious.
call it. Now, here's a good question, right? And it comes from, where did I see it now? Harriet. Are you all Bible-believing Christians? Now, I can only speak for myself, and I really hesitate to put a label on myself at all. And if being a Christian is judged by, like reading the Bible and maybe praying religiously, then I'm not. Do I believe in God, a creator, Jesus? Yeah, I do. I just don't think I need to go through a book to get there, if that makes sense. I think it's a personal thing. And that's why I'm very open to speaking to people of all belief systems. And I'm really respectful for other people's beliefs as well. And you'll have seen this week that these so-called Christians who are told to turn the other cheek and, not be judgmental, they absolutely went back crap crazy on me, because I give other people a platform.
You had these nice artifacts, if you will. These.
Yeah, but Joe, you know me. I would have. You know me, Joe. That's the way I roll, though. I don't just.
What?
This is not going to be an echo chamber for just the one belief system. I don't.
Oh,
I think
of course
that's
not,
ridiculous.
but hey, I have to say, I have tons of respect for you for having carved penises in your chat and on the live stream. It's very nice, especially the vagina candle. That was very nice too. I thought that gave a nice flair to things. Very nice flair.
Yeah, it is. And listen, I know, Joe. I know.
No, I'm just waiting for the ritual killings to start happening. Now, once that happens,
ridiculous.
then we're starting to
You see, that's pretty poor. That's pretty poor. And if you listen to what Tia said on the show, I mean, aside from you cracking up at her candles, I mean, it was all good. And I mean,
dude, it was great.
Her one message to people coming up towards Halloween from her witch's point of view was, don't go dabbling in Ouija boards. Stuff like that.
It's bad news.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. So that's my answer to that question. I'm just me. Do I believe in I believe we're in a simulation. And people say, well, you can't believe in God then. Well, it didn't, program itself.
Yeah.
So, what? So, Joe, are you one of these Christians that adheres to the Bible, like we were saying in that question there?
I am not a Christian.
There you go, then.
I'm not a Christian. That
You're
doesn't
Noah.
mean I
Yeah.
don't believe.
You're
I'm
Noah.
just a Christian. I'm Joah.
You're Joa. You're in the good book. So
My faith isn't in a box. I don't put my faith in a box. We'll put it
exactly.
that.
I don't like labels. So where do you lie, Scott? Are you a man? Do we put a label on you, Scott?
Well, I'm going to put a label on myself just to make it easier for everyone. And I would consider myself an agnostic theist, which means I believe that there is something higher out there, that there is a higher power. But we are extremely arrogant to actually think that we understand what it is or who it is. Humans are super, super arrogant. We really think we know everything, and we really don't. All I know is that there is something higher than us.
There sure is.
Yeah.
There definitely is something higher than us. But to think that we understand what it is,
Well, you know what you should always look at.
It
This is
that is super arrogant. That to think that we understand it.
oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Here's the thing. Don't look at the Bible as the end all be all. Look at it as like a navigational book or something like that.
Yeah,
it's a way to help you navigate certain things and life issues. And
I look at all, I look at all texts, all sacred texts. It doesn't matter
right.
what if it's coming from like the Mahabharata in India,
the
if
enamel
it's coming from
tablets
the
of truth.
Exactly.
yes. Exactly, Joe. Exactly.
It's a private joke, folks. It's a private joke.
Yeah, it's a joke, guys. Inside joke. Yes. So it doesn't matter where it comes from. If there's information or something to be gleaned from that, then that's where I'm going to go and look. And that's why, I mean, look, all of these texts from around the world, from the Bible to like stuff written by the Aztecs, all over all of these civilizations, right? They talk about a lot of the same things. The flood, right? That seems to be a common theme within many different cultures, many different texts. And I think if you're just narrow-minded and you're focusing on one text, then you're missing out on other key pieces of information that you may be able to glean out of other things. So, I guess I'm not going to just consider myself a Christian. I guess you could say that my moral values or whatever align with Christianity, but I think that those moral values pretty much align with anyone who just wants to be good to their fellow man, have respect for their fellow man. You know what I mean? You can't just label it as one religion, and that's where all of the division comes from, the divide and conquer. My sky god is better than your sky god, so let's kill each other over it. It's so stupid. Stupid when you think about it.
Roxy in the chat room, another very, very valued member, says, and Ellie was talking about this the other night, he says he looks at the Bible as like being the guidebook to the supernatural. And that's what I say.
It's very much so.
And remember you told me, Joe, as well, when you're like diving into the Bible, think of it like Lord of the Rings. It's more like a fantasy story. All these things going on, all the characters and things. And if people are wondering why Joe's doing that right now, it's because I've just sent him something on Skype.
Oh dear God in heaven!
I think that qualifies,
my friend.
That qualifies as the Franken
That's my
vajangle.
class right there.
Dang, John, you are some dude. Are we almost out of time, guys? I think we are. We've gone over our time yet. Usually Joe turns into a pumpkin by now, So listen, folks, I'm going to be doing the member-only chat live stream tomorrow. Now, remember, that means you can still come along and chill out. It was an Ask Me Anything last week. We'll have maybe a half an hour at the start of Ask Me Anything again. It was really, you were really kind of gentle with me last week. We can go deeper into the Asking Me Anything this week. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place. Probably a similar woo Although you never know what's going to come up in the 24 hours between shows. Anything can happen in this crazy matrix. I want to thank everyone for getting us up to the 75 members. I really am so blown away by that. I never thought when I said, when was it? Maybe a week ago or so, guys? We need 25 new members. I never thought we would get that to unlock the new emoji. So I'll take one quick look to see how many we need now to unlock the next one. This is going to be scary, I can tell you. Let's see. We need 25 new members to take us up to the 100 mark. Yes, we'll get there, folks. We'll get there. Yep, slowly but surely. And it's because of you people out there joining the channel. That's what brought the channel to the attention of Google. Because they were realizing that the people that come here, always positive in the chat, always respectful. There's never really anything too controversial. Yeah, we get close at times. But it's the fact that all of you were showing so much support so quickly. And that's what the girl told me. She said it kind of got flagged up. You were one of the channels that's really working for. That's not because of me. It's not because of the guys. It's because of you out there. So from me, Joe, Scott, and my family as well, I thank you so much. And anyone that donated on PayPal today, absolutely different class. Thank you again. And yep, I'll be back tomorrow. Guys, I'll let you say goodbye to the audience before I turn on our groovy tunes and get the hell out of here.
The groovy tunes. Yes, have a good night, everybody.
Wait. Speaking of groovy tunes, don't we need to give Mikhail a little shout out? And we need.
Oh, yes, we do.
Well, how about we open up tomorrow night's show with one of Mikhail's tracks?
Very nice, very nice.
How does that sound? Yeah.
Yes.
What's the name of his band again, Scott?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go check again. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it is excellent. It is let me
Well, if you get that and drop it in the Skype chat, I'll drop it in the main chat for people to check out, and then we'll get out of here. We'll let all of you get back to your day. We'll let you get back and see what else is. Tommy Gunn says, "Brother, you are so much of a legend. You're practically a big toe." Love you, bro. I love you, Tommy. I do. I love all of yous, you know, whether you're in green, whether you're just here chilling out. Everyone. It's a very special thing we've got here.
Very special
It
time.
is very special. Me love you long time, Joe.
We love you long time, yes.
Yes, indeedy. So what we're going to get into tomorrow night? Any ideas, Joe? We've still got some stories. In fact, we could get into the one from the Metro that I'd found.
Yeah, the man suing the Apple because his iPhone turned him gay.
Turned him, hey.
Hey.
And if you're an iPhone user or holder in the UK, we might be getting a big payout soon.
Is that right? All of about what? $15 probably?
£750.
Lies.
£750, they say.
Yeah.
Because
lies.
they were misusing our data.
Let's see. Hurry up and wait for that.
As you can tell, I'm not holding my breath. Now, I've just dropped that in the chat room, folks. It's called Terror Claws. Is that the name?
Terror Claws. Yes. Awesome name for a band.
Yeah. I'm just going to bring it up here now. Let people... We'll play a little bit as we go out here. I'll actually play it just now.
Nice.
Hopefully we won't get copyrighted for it. If we do, Mikhail, I'm going to be sending more shadow people your way.
That's right.
Let's have a listen. Okay, that's a bit loud. I'll need to download it and sort the volume out. Damn.
I was into it. I was about ready to start a mosh pit here.
Damn, dude. Damn.
Ready.
I'm going to have like people messaging me, get that satanic music off of there. I knew that would trigger Scott. I knew it would trigger him. Look, he's right. Like, I told you, Kev, it's not satanic. That Billie Eyelash is more satanic.
She is.
She is. So, folks, check out Terror Claws. That's our good friend, Mikhail. Check it out. I'll adjust the volume of that for tomorrow. But we are out of here, folks. Remember to like the stream. Remember to share it. Remember, tell everyone you know on social media about our weekend streams here. They're weird. They're bizarre. And I tell you what, some of the conversations we have, absolutely brilliant. So for another week, for another night, I'll be back tomorrow. Joe and Scott will be back tomorrow. We are out of here. Oh yeah, and before I go, Mammoth. Dang, dude. Dang.